7 principles that everyone in his early 20s or late teens must know and do. So for the past 8 years, I was doing YouTube all the time. Full-time content creator, and at the same time I'm right now in college, in nursing college, as well as I started my own service about 9 months ago. And also I always learn about how to develop yourself from tons of self-help books, and all the knowledge I'm gonna put it here today. I promise that you will know what to do on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, and also how to track it from year to year. The way that I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go through the principles, giving you the stories, the lessons, and I'm gonna give you a few secrets of mine. So, I think the most important of all of this is one, you have to want to become better. The way you want to become better, I think after all of these years, I realized that the data is better. You see how everyone says that I'm always getting better. I self-analyze myself. Self-analyzing might be the biggest thing that you can do because it has a very high ROI activity. It's really every minute that you spend doing, tracking your data, analyzing, making decisions based on them, you're getting hundreds of hours back. It's that big. And the reason behind it is because the data is literally the only way for you to know your best move. It doesn't matter what book you read, what video you hear from any person, who is your mentor. If you don't see who you are right now, and who you are might be tricky. It's like, where are you right now? This question is very vague that you have to break it down to practical questions that you can answer so you understand where you are right now. The way to do it is by having and collecting data. So you collect data, as an example, the way that I did it for the past 30 months, I have all of the data tracked in one spreadsheet, okay? Tracking 18 metrics for 30 months. So 18 metrics, now it's more about close to 25. But the thing is, I tracked 18 metrics for 30 months to realize which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones have no effect whatsoever on my state, which one gets me closer to the best version of myself, which one gets me further from the best version of myself. These questions are very vague that a lot of people tend to go to YouTube videos, to books, to external validations to actually seek the answers. Well, most likely you can find the best answers in your data. Okay. So I'm going to also get inspired by a quote from Alex Hormozi, and he says, someone asked him and he says, what is the best books to read? And he said, look, I think you should not read books, just look at data. And because the reason why is someone asked him and he says, what's the one thing that had the highest ROIs? Like, what is it, a book? Is it a video? Is it a mentor? And he said, actually, it's just data. Data will be the biggest teacher. It was the biggest teacher, it is the biggest teacher, and it will be the biggest teacher of mine. And he's a billionaire or millionaire right now. Okay, so this gives us a lot of understanding about what's the importance of data. So everything that you will see right now, me talking about it, all the principles are based on actual data from my life. So I'm not giving you something that I just learned from a book, but I'm going to validate it from information from different places so you understand, and as well as giving you the stories so you comprehend. So here we will move on very quickly to the second principle, which I think also is as important. In some occasions, it might be more important, which is networking. I've been through phases when I was struggling with networking because I was afraid to lose my current friends. And I went through a phase where I had no friends for 6 months and I was mentally drained, and it was awful. And that gave me some sort of mental, not very advantage to be afraid of telling people just fuck off. Just telling people no. Saying the people that I don't want to become my friends, I don't want you in my life, and that's it. Which costed me a lot. It actually costed me 1 year of my life that I got suspended from college just because of that. I couldn't say no to the right person or the wrong person. Okay? So the way I'm going to explain it to you is that networking is just about volume game. You have to comprehend, write on a paper, use AI, whatever it is, to write down who is your best partner. Choose it as if you're choosing your wife, okay? you have to think about it. Who is your best friends that you want? Who's your teammates? Do you want to hire in your project? Whatever it is. You have to type down all of the descriptions. So let's say he has specified knowledge in X field. He's also charismatic, he's loyal, he's this. You write them down. It's different from everyone. So you can't just take mine or take someone else's, but you have to write them down. That will help you. You'll help your unconscious mind to recognize him instantly when you see him. And it's insane because they did that and it was like, you know what? I don't think that this will ever work. It worked. And I was shocked. I was like, dude, this guy that I just met and now he's great connection. I wrote him on a whiteboard about a few months ago. And I was like, dude, this actually works because I tried it and I proved that it worked. And actually what's crazy about it is that I didn't believe it will work and it still worked. So if I believe it will work even better. And this is awesome. Like the way you think about it is networking is a volume game. So you meet 100, probably one of them will be suited to be your friend. Don't expect from 190 of them will be your friends because simply you have to comprehend this, is that simply if you do that, then you are not authentic. When you are authentic, I'm going to give you even an example of mine. I'm very authentic, okay? I'm not like, I had a period where this was not authentic. In a class of 80 people, I had 80 friends. Now, I'm authentic. You know, I say my opinions, I believe in what I believe in, and also I protect my energy. So I don't let anyone with negative energy, some bullshit, whatever it is, just don't come to me, right? I do whatever I want, okay? So now I know that I have people that hate on me, right? I know that people, like as an example, I did this work with the teacher. Someone was looking at the work and he was looking for mistakes that I did. I was like, teacher, there's this thing that happened. We're in college. And I understood it. And I was okay with it because I'm fine with having enemies. I want to have enemies. Okay, sure. Okay, you know what I mean? Because I understand that conflict is just part of it. If I don't have conflicts with the wrong people, I most certainly will not be with the good people. Because good people are always protecting their energy. They don't let anyone in. So you have to be like them because that's how human psychology works. Talking about human psychology, I'm going to stay here for the next principle, okay? Track your mental state. Tracking your mental state can be actually tricky. So for me, I call it mental health care, okay? So like, do I take care of my mental health today, tomorrow, yesterday, like that? And you can even do it a daily task. I do recommend for a certain period, but not for your entire life, because probably you want to put the biggest one important thing in your to-do list and not like 500 things, okay? Which is something that I figured out later. This is just a pro tip. So tracking your mental health care is important because for me, I figured out in the past 5 years, the worst times, it was actually the worst times where I suffered mentally. More than physically, okay? And I understood that. I went through a horrible time. It was all psychological. I understood that my psychology, my mental state is very important if I want to actually achieve what I want to achieve. So we might as well track it. Because what you track, you know what they say, what you track, grow. What you keep an eye on, grow. So we might as well keep an eye on your mental health state and mental health care, because like that it will be better by consequence, because that's how the universe works, okay? And the way that I like to do it, just not randomly do it, okay? You have to break it down. So I think you should take care of your mental health care, which means you have to ask yourself the questions, whether consciously, unconsciously, indirectly, directly, I don't care, just do that, okay? Which is like you say to yourself, I am in a good mental state right now. And you see the reasons behind it. I did do that. And sometimes for a lot of states, I thought they were bad mental, but they were actually just caused by a lot of other stuff, which is physiological, or I didn't eat enough food, or all of the stuff that you cannot figure out except if you track them. And the pro tip that I'm going to give here is that track them more than one metric with the mental health. As an example, sleep, food, energy levels. These are important. And I actually used AI to figure out these, because at first, in my 18 metrics that I tracked, because I was tracking 18 metrics for 30 months, I was not putting all of these metrics. I was putting mental health, but I was not putting sleep, energy levels, and stuff like that. And ChatGPT, AI, I put in the right prompts, and he told me that you have to actually add them, because they have a direct effect on your state, on your version, and what are you doing, right? What are you capable of doing? What is, all of these stuff. And you can even add some other, depending on who you are, and what you think has the biggest effect on your version to become the best version of yourself, or at least the closest version of yourself. And this is the next point, is literally the best version of yourself. You have to know what is the best version of yourself. Preferably, write it down right now. Get on a paper and write down what is the best version of yourself. How does it look like? And most importantly, you have to do these 3 things. You have to understand, what does he have? What does he do? Okay, so do, have, and what does he want? So do is like, what does he do on a daily basis? What are the habits that he has? When he wakes up, what does he do? All of these stuff that makes all the sense for you to be like, well, now I understand who is my best version of myself. If I do what he does, then it's the same thing. And what does he have? Usually it's not too much, because you want the best version of yourself in the circumstances you have right now. So it's not as if there is something that you don't have and he has. It's usually you have the same things. It's just that he is the best version of yourself. So he must have the same circumstances. Okay, so now we have do and we have. These are, for me, I think these are the most important, but also you want to add another one, which is be, right? Being. Who is he? Being. So the best version of yourself might be kind, honest, might be brutal, I don't know, it depends on who you are. Might be all of these characteristics, you might also put them in there. Like that, you're like, okay, what I have, you have to put them, you have to translate them to do's. So as an example, let's say he have, I don't know actually, he have time to spend with family. So what does he need to do in order for him to do that? Okay, probably he will see how many hours he's spending on social media, and he will cut that down in half. So he will spend more time with his family. It makes all the sense. And now you understand how you become the best version of yourself. And the same thing goes with B, but usually it's clear enough. Okay, B, if he's honest, then you might want to be honest as well. It's clear. This thing alone will help you to understand what is the best version of yourself, because there is countless YouTube videos and gurus telling you that you want to be the best version of yourself. Who is my best version of myself? Explain to me. Your best version is not my best version. Your circumstance is not mine. So you want to be him instead of just following the best version of someone else. Which gives us one important thing, which is comparison. Who you compare yourself to is important. It's called the reference group in psychology. I studied psychology as a module in college, as an entire class was psychology. One of the main things that I understood from there, I think it's definitely life-changing, is the reference group. The reference group is literally the people, like when you are going to do something, who are the people that pop up in your mind and start telling you stuff. You should or you shouldn't do this, do that. Why are you doing this? All of the internal dialogues that you have, who are the people that tell you those are your reference group? The best thing about it is that they can be imaginary. So as an example, you can make Elon Musk part of your reference group. And it will work just fine, just as if you put your mother, your father, your mentor, whatever it is, in your reference group. And the good thing is that you can train yourself to choose your reference group as well. So as an example, someone can train himself to have Elon Musk and, I don't know, Donald Trump and Jimmy, Mr. Beast, and his brother and his mentor as reference group. So anytime he's making a decision, they pop up into his mind. They're like, you probably, in best cases, they should be with you. It's like, do that more, especially if it's work or something. And you can change it, right? So it's like if you're training a lot, you can do that with your coach. So you're pushing yourself, you're doing what you have to do. It depends on you. So I'm not going to give you all examples because literally you have the entire freedom. Just look at the best version of yourself and change your reference group based on him. So literally what you want is the reference group being all of the people that you want to be in their places. It's more of your idols, okay? So you want to be that way, so your unconscious mind gives you the lessons or the advices that they will give you if they were with you. Because look, unconscious mind is very strong, which is something that I didn't know until I read one of the best books of all time, which is Think and Grow Rich, talking about the unconscious mind, how it's very powerful. And it's coming from Napoleon Hill, who was literally spent 22 years of his life just studying the richest man in the world. So he probably knows stuff more than me, more than most of us. So might as well learn from him. And he says, unconscious mind is the biggest, one thing, strongest entity in the universe. Because it has the access to anything. And literally with the unconscious mind, you can do anything. It's insane. It's insane, okay? So you want that to use it in your favor instead of using it against you. So use your unconscious mind, have a great reference group, and you can also say that with the internal dialogue that it will be with you. So that we're talking about the auto-suggestion. So instead of saying, I'm bad, I'm horrible at this, I'm bad, bro, I'm weak, I don't have enough muscles. All of the excuses that are bad energy. Because your unconscious mind, just know bad energy, negative energy, your positive energy. So even if you lie, your unconscious mind doesn't know if it's a lie or truth. So you might as well say, I'm strong. You might as well say, I'm the best. You might as well say something like this of these lines, at least in your internal dialogue. So it goes up to your unconscious mind, therefore it will be presented in the reality because that's how the universe works. And here Napoleon Hill explains it in detail. Like these are ideas from the book, okay? He says the unconscious mind taps into the unlimited intelligence, which is the other. He goes on saying that every person has a certain vibration of thought, and that's why when you see someone, sometimes you see someone you have no clue who it is, and you just love him. That's his vibrations. And the same thing goes with the opposite. You see someone, you hate him, even that you never met him, you don't know the guy. His vibrations are contradicting with your vibrations, which is your unconsciousness, okay? Which is literally the access to unlimited intelligence. And that's why it all goes out to networking. You want your network to be as strong as humanly possible. People that can bring you up, and each one of them has specified knowledge to do the next principle, which is Mastermind Alliance. So Mastermind Alliance, this is one chapter of the same book I was talking about, is the Think and Grow Rich. Mastermind Alliance is literally collaborating with big names. As an example, so Mastermind Alliance can be at least with 2 to 3 people and more. There's no limits. There is up to 63 people you can do that. So Mastermind Alliance is having people with specified knowledge important. So no general bullshit. Just nobody cares about that. So specified knowledge. As an example, this guy is an expert at this one thing. And you are an expert at this one thing. You have specified knowledge. And the same goes with everyone in the Mastermind Alliance. So let's say I am on my own, or you are on my own, or you are on your own. So I'm going with X speed. We're going to help each other. I'm going to give you my knowledge, you give me your knowledge. So we're both going to go with double the speed that we're going with. And everybody says that 1 + 1 = 11 when it comes to networking. This is when it works best. Because if there is 3 people, it's insane. It's not only 3 times the speed. It might be 4 or 5 times the speed. If there is 10 people, it might not be just 10 times the speed. It might be even 100 or 80 times the speed, because it has that big differences. So if everyone is great at one specified knowledge, okay, and you help each other, all of you will grow at the same time in a way that you can never access on your own. So this is something that I wish I understood very early on. And then think about it, it's all about networking that I talked about. So it's volume and choosing the right people. And the trick is in finding them. So you want volume, and you have to understand that is rare. So if you want one person described as what you described, it will be 1 in 100. Okay. 7, as you have to comprehend, is volume is everything. Okay. It's mentioned in more than one principle. Volume will teach you, will give you the data, which we started with. The data is important. You cannot get data except if you have volume. And that's why in the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, he even mentioned this. He says you have to apply the 20-80 rule, which is 20% of the work that you do gives you 80% of the results. But in order for you to do it, so if you got into a new job, at least you have to do the job for 2 months. So you collect the data, you put in the volume, so you can figure out what actually is giving you the highest ROI and what is waste of time, so you can apply the 20-80% rule. And it's not just some crappy bullshit that you just think. And this only comes with volume in everything in life. So even if it's not work, if it's relationships, if it's networking, if it's all of the principles, you have to do it, and you put in volume. The more volume, the better data you have. The better data you have, the easier it is to identify the patterns and also make greater decisions. As I promised, these are make or break principles that a must know for people in their early 20s or the late teens. Subscribe.